Hey there, Otaku Ken-chan, back with another episode of Go Mega Otaku Gamer Alpha. Now, today we're going to look at Nintendo's worst-selling home console. Man, you know what I'm talking about. This console only sold worldwide 21.74 million units. Yeah, that's not enough to do it, baby. And with the Wii U being out the way it is now, hopefully the Wii U does better than 21.74 million units. But we're not here to talk about the Wii U. We're here to talk about the Nintendo Gamecube. Right, well, I have, you can barely see this thing because I have it so tricked out. I got the Wavebird connections here, and if you think this looks silly with these chumps sticking out of it, then you're right, it does. And just think, you could have up to 4 of these things on the front face of this, because as you can see, we'll take these out. Come on! Come on! Alright, you can see that there's 4 players, each signified by the number of dots. Player 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the front there. And you have 2 memory card slots on the front. And you have a little bit of a coffee thing right there that I just now noticed. But these go in like that. Anyway, and at the bottom of this one also, I have the Game Boy Player device attached. So let's have a look at what that, well, looks like without that. Shazam! And there we have it. And of course, I had to take this door off of here to put the Game Boy Player, in there. I'm not going to get real heavy into these peripherals right now. But since we're on the bottom and I just took that out, here's a serial port right here. And that's what that is. And here is, an empty space. You can put whatever in there. But the serial port is also used for internet. They made they made a broadband connection for this that you could connect with, and you plug it into the bottom here, and boom, you're on the internet with this machine. Even though there was maybe 2 games that actually utilized that feature. So when it's all said and done, you end up with something a little bit more like this. And this is the original controller here, and you would then plug this in like this. And everything's very small on this machine. This, for its time, for the time this came out during the, PlayStation 2 and Xbox era, the so-called 6th generation of consoles. Everything on this was so much smaller than all the other consoles. On the top, we come up to the top here, and we have a power switch here. We have a reset button here, and an open button here. And you look inside, and it uses mini DVDs or mini discs, proprietary mini discs, and we'll look at those as its medium for the games. Over here we have this snappy handle. You can grip the thing and carry it around like this, like a Fisher-Price toy. The look of the GameCube, of course, is very toy-like, very Fisher-Pricey, and that's because in Japan cute outdoes cool. In America, we like things that look cool. In Japan, a lot of people prefer cute looking to cool. So, don't ask me why. They just do. So that you have this design that ends up looking like a toy, a Fisher-Price toy. Very well ventilated. Very small chance of this ever overheating. I have seen durability tests among this, the PlayStation 2, and the Xbox, where they do things like hit it with a hammer or drop it. And out of the 3 machines that I saw this done to, it was on, I think it was on G4. This is the most durable of the machines, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, the design of this, it's not really a cube. I mean, the front of this isn't as tall as, the top, but it's closer to a cube than any of the other systems that were out. Now, of course, let's go ahead and rebuild this to the way I had it, so that we can get down to business with looking at some other things about it here. And of course, this Game Boy player, snaps into the top here. Tighten up these 2 little bolts, and voila, you're ready to go with the Game Boy player. You can plug your Game Boy in here. There was also, for certain games, they had a cable, and I do have this cable somewhere. I wasn't able to find it today, but there's a cable that comes out you can plug in to one of these controller ports. And for games like the original Animal Crossing, you can, when you go to the island, you can walk your little dude around on the island and fish and fart around and stuff like that. And you can kind of take that part of the game with you to bed, and it'll stay in sleep mode overnight if you have a full charge. So, I mean, that's a pretty cool little thing. Of course, once you get done building this up, this looks ridiculous. It no longer looks cute. It looks like cute with stuff sticking out of its butt. And the whole build thing kind of reminds me of, another device that does a similar kind of thing, but we're not going to talk about that right now either. Okay, now on the back of the thing, of course, it's sparse. Here's your video, here's your power, and here's like a little heat sink thing, and that's it. The original Gamecubes could do progressive scan and like a 480 progressive, but this is a newer one, and it doesn't really do that. It's an analog AV out. It's just proprietary. And I want to point something out here. When you remove a game, you actually, this little thing here pushes down. There's a little button on it, and you push down, and it releases the disc. The disc comes out versus like grabbing it up by the edge and trying to pull it out. It's a lot easier just to push this. The disc will pop up, and you can just pull it right out. So that's a neat little thing about that, because these discs are so small, you don't want to be rooting around in this thing really hard. So let's take a look at the discs. I want to show you the boot up on this too. The boot up's pretty cool. We'll take a look at the discs, and then we'll take a look at the games. Okay, so let's have a look at the difference in size. I have here Demolition Man, which is a Sega CD, and then you have WarioWare, which is a GameCube looking CD. And if we put them like this, you see the difference. Let's get this dead centered here. You see the difference in size. These games are much smaller. They go into the much smaller top like this, and they're tiny. Okay, tiny little discs for that. And of course, I'll mention it. The Wii, the successor to this machine that came after this, also takes these little discs when it's playing Nintendo GameCube discs. Of course, when it's playing its normal discs are full size, DVD size discs. Still proprietary, but it's backward compatible with this, and it's funny to watch one of these go into a Wii because it looks like it's going to disappear. Actually, I think it was my brother that told me that. But anyhow, so let's take a look next at the boot up of the machine, and then I want to show you some games. Okay, we're going to boot this up now. And this is just a regular boot up here. Okay, that's that one. And then it goes into this. But I want to show you the other one that you can get to simply by holding this Z button here, the blue thing right here. You just hold that down when you boot up. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hold that down, and we're going to boot this up. Wow, isn't that fantastic? Anyway, now that we're in here, let's take a moment to look at some of this stuff that they put in here. You got your gameplay thing. There's no disc in there now. You have your memory card, which allows you to go into your memory cards and look at your stuff. Here I got some Resident Evil 4 on here. Whoops, over on the other one. Skies of Arcadia, Intellivision, Classics, WarioWare, Rogue Leader. The system had some really good games. Beautiful Joe, Sonic Gems, Sonic Adventure, Director's Cut, GoldenEye, Killer 7, Alien Hominid, Rebel Strike, PN3, all kinds of stuff, that's on your memory card there. Save data for your games. There's a calendar here, tells you what the day and the date and time is. Here we have 12:52:47, which is not right. That's not what time it is, but the date's right anyway, so we're close. I'll have to fix that later. But okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put a game in and see what this thing does. Yeah, let's get it on with Skies of Arcadia Legends. Why wouldn't we? Why show something cheesy when we can show you something spectacular from Sega?
This should work.
What? Okay, after burning out my batteries, that's a little Skies of Arcadia Legends. Onward and upward. Yeah, it's a little Metroid Prime, the original. I remember walking into Walmart, and they had a kiosk set up with this game. Well, it wasn't really a kiosk, they just kind of had it out with this game running on it. First time I saw this, I was like, wow, man. The only Metroid game I've ever actually finished is Other M. These games are so hard. Nintendo makes you work. At their games. You definitely get the most for your money. They're not easy games. You don't just blow through them like a lot of these games today. Anyway, you get the idea of that. Super Smash Brothers Melee! what is that? Okay, so at the end of the day, the IBM-powered PC Gecko at 485 megahertz CPU, with these 16 megabyte cards max, while probably the most powerful of this generation, really. The 485 megahertz Gecko, apparently, from what I understand, is able to very easily go toe-to-toe with the 733 megahertz Intel processor that was in the Xbox, and both this and the Xbox, beat the PS2 as far as specs are concerned. This is the last time that Nintendo built a machine, focusing on stronger specs for their machine. After this, they kind of stayed with this for the most part. Maybe overclocked it a little bit on the Wii. But it doesn't really matter. This thing still sold, poorly. And which makes it now, a little bit more desirable of a collectible, really, as it is the worst-selling console that Nintendo ever made. Their worst-selling home console. This machine really wasn't... it really didn't do what they thought it was going to do. I always thought of it as kind of an interim machine. They obviously could tell something was wrong by the time the Nintendo 64 rolled around, and there's no way that this was their ultimate plan to save everything, with a machine like this. The fact that it doesn't play DVDs hurt it, which, again, I've ranted and raved about this so many times. That's ridiculous. I can't believe people in their damn DVD playing video game machines. Big freaking whoop. But anyhow, it seems to be that a lot of people at that time wanted a machine that could do both, play their DVDs and their games, and they thought that, buying one machine that does everything made more sense. That hurt this console. It's sad, but it's still, even though it was more powerful than the PS2, it still got outshone. So I would recommend this machine to any gamer, any collector. They're around. Maybe a little bit harder to find than a PS2, but they're still around. You can still get them used. And if you find them, they're not going to be expensive. And they have a pretty healthy library of games. It's not like you're going to be hurting for games if you get this system. Nintendo themselves, as I said, make fantastic games. Their games are a little bit harder than most other games that you get. They make you work a little bit harder. You get more bang for your buck that way. I'll be brutally honest, on the Nintendo 64, it took me the better part of 20 years to beat Super Mario 64, because I've always had so many choices that plays into it. If I'm playing a game and it ticks me off, I have, a couple thousand more that I can choose from. I can put something down for years and not come back to it. But, still, I would have to still say that this system I definitely recommend to anyone of any kind of collector, any kind of gamer at all. They're cheap. The games are cheap. So there you have it. It looks like Fisher-Price, more powerful than a PS2, less expensive than a PS2, and also far, far less popular. It's the Nintendo Gamecube.